What's up, everyone? On today's episode, we're going outside the box on this one, and we're going to walk you through how do you actually use your home, yes, the one that you live in, as a showroom to close sales. So we'll walk you through who should really be doing this, why you got to do it, and then how to not only set it up, but also drive people there. So stick with it, and we'll walk you through each one of those three. What's up, everyone? I'm Logan.
And I'm Alex.
And this is Contractor Growth Network. And today we're talking all about how do you actually use your home as like a straight up showroom, like how some of the big dogs have it, but to sell. So, Alex, for you, what do you think of when I say showroom?
I think of a car showroom where it's like, I think of the old-timey car showrooms, though, like a smaller, like ranch kind of home setting, but it's like, you just have cars parked in the middle of, the floor.
So you think of cars, like, because I mean, that's like, I think what most people would say is,
like a car show. I think because showroom, the term is more used when you use cars.
Right.
But I more think of like when you're thinking contractors, a storefront is what I feel like a lot of people would use. But a showroom for like paint too, I think is more like, common. I don't know, what do you think of when you think of
because I guess like when we went to Michigan, that's what we saw was like a paint store, but they also have all the different colors, like when you apply to something, how it looks. I think of a showroom, well, not that you say it, probably the car stuff, but I think of, for some reason, I just think of like you walk in, like, I don't know why I think of flooring, but I think you just walk into like a flooring showroom and they've just got like tons of different types of like wood.
Yeah.
That you can like pick up and feel. And
it's funny now that you say it. Now I'm thinking about it, like furniture too. You get like all these couches and like tables, I guess, on the showroom floor, I guess. Yeah, a little bit like that.
Yeah. So the reason that we're talking about this one is because all the stuff that we got over in this blueprint at contractorgrowthnetwork.com, it's all about the online world. How do you generate leads online? How do you grow your business online? Things like that. Sometimes for the clients that just need a bit more hand-holding, you got to do something in person, and that is where using some offline stuff works, where you're connecting all the trust and relationships that you've been building online to the offline world to then get them to actually buy from you or at least engage with you in a sales conversation. So quick example or backstory on, I guess the first time that I really like learned or saw this in action was, we've probably talked about this on the podcast before, but Pond World, my dad, Premier Ponds, had a couple come over and thought that his house was a showroom. They just saw the website online or the address online, went over there and go and they see my mom, and my mom's standing there and she's like, "Oh, can I help you?" And they go, "Oh, well, we like, this pond that you have on the side of your house, this is exactly what we want. This is like literally, this is exactly what we want. Let me ask you," to my mom, "let me ask you, is this over or under $12,000? Well, mind you, it's a $60,000 to $75,000 pond, depending on the options, but it's starting at 60. And my mom goes, "It's higher." And they go, "Is it over or under like 15? And she goes, "Hold on, let me go get my husband." So he's upstairs, and she goes up and gets him. And a couple minutes later, he comes back down. And in the meantime, they are sitting there by the pond. And you got to see it where it's, you get the water running. It sounds great. You've got the wind chimes. You got a nice little breeze. I mean, it was a couple, so they're there together. I mean, talk about like mindfulness and like stepping out and getting into like, like your zen. Yeah, that's your spot to do it. So they got to sit there for 5 minutes, taking it all in. Then when my dad comes down, I think they end up going through everything, and this is all at my house, and he's talking about it, and he goes, "Well, this is a $60,000 to $75,000 project." And when it was all said and done, I think they walked away with a deposit for a $50,000 project. Yeah. And the people came in saying, "Is this 12 grand?" Like that was their budget, was 12 grand. Yeah. And then by the time that they got to my house, got to really see what it was like after a 25, 30-minute conversation, they signed a $50,000 deal.
That's crazy.
Crazy, right?
So were they going into it, did they know what 12,000 could get them?
I don't think so. I think they just like they just had a number in their head, and that's the problem with like contracting work in general. Yeah. Nobody knows because like, if I asked you, Alex, like what does a car cost? Would you know?
No, it depends. What
It
car
all
you want.
depends on what you're talking
Yeah,
about. And
which makes sense.
yeah, so and with ponds, it's even more because cars are common, ponds are not.
Yeah.
So like, you just don't know it's not common knowledge.
No, before I started working here, I would have no idea what a pond
Right.
would cost starting.
At all.
So,
I wouldn't know what like to get oil at the house, what that would cost, like stuff like that.
Exactly.
So you just don't know this stuff. So that was when, because they'd seen all this stuff online, they had been looking at the website, checking out different pictures, different things, but then they ended up showing up at the house. And when they got to not only experience it, but also talk with my dad and kind of go through all that stuff together, that's when, the magic happened, and they ended up signing something that was 4.5 or 4.25 times more expensive than what they were hoping for.
So I got to ask you, was that planned for your mom to go up and go get your dad
No.
and leave him there for 3
No,
minutes?
I
Because
think-
any couple anytime they go find something, like if you leave like the couple together, they're going to talk, and either they're going one way or the other. I guarantee it. So
Like they were either walking out before my dad got down, or
Yeah.
it was going to go well. And I think, honestly, when my dad was telling the story, he was just like, my mom walks up there and goes, "You got a couple down there. They're asking about the pond if they can get it for $12,000." And he's instantly thinking, "This is going to be
Yeah.
this is going to be crap. Like I got to get ready, go back down there, put on my face just for them to only want to spend 12 grand." And it shows you that.
Yeah, that must have been tough. Like, your dad's got enough training, obviously, that he to not come down a little bit from what it actually is, just to
Right.
make them feel a little bit better. But that must have been tough to be like, oh wow, I'm gonna crush their dreams with telling them actually how expensive it would be.
Yeah, because usually in the sales world, you can like come out, like if it's a smaller pond, right? You could come out and be like, "Oh yeah, like it's a good thing that this is only our smaller one because the bigger ones cost $60,000." And that's like the sticker shock, and they're like, "Wow, what's this cost?" And you're like, "Well, this one only costs 22, and 22 compared to 60 is a lot cheaper."
Yeah,
But this was like the high anchor that they get to use.
yeah,
Oh yeah, it's a good thing that yours is smaller at your house because the one at my house is $60,000.
yeah.
And then, but now this is the high anchor one, so he's stuck having to say this is what it cost. And I mean, apparently it went well. Like he said, it's 60,000, and apparently the wife turned to the husband and says, "See, I knew it," or vice versa. But they were like, "I told you this is more than 12,000," and then ended up selling it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the idea of the value and how once people get to meet you and stuff like that, how great it is. But what we want to talk about today is how do you do that without running out to estimate after estimate? So to actually turn your home, just like how my dad does it, and it was all by accident, how do you turn that into a showroom that you can get clients over there or prospects over there, talk to them, they're on your terms. So all you have to do is walk outside or walk downstairs and sell to them. So you want to jump on in?
Yeah, let's do it.
So first off, who is this for? I would say this is for contractors that you are in a visual space. It's kind of tough if you're like an electrician to really like, "Oh yeah, like come check out like my breaker box." Like, "Oh
Yeah.
neat, man, that was gnarly."
Yeah.
So especially if you're in the landscape world, like if you set your home up, which as a landscaper, I mean you should. I know everybody does this where it's like, the worst
Is your space.
is your space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I remember going up and like visiting Sherwood, and before I walked in, he was like, "Dude, just so you know," and I was like, "Oh man, dude, it's cool," But
Yeah.
it was like walking in like
It's common, but
it happens all the time.
Yeah.
So this is an excuse to redo your space. So if you're in the visual industry, this could be huge, especially in like landscaping and stuff like that, because it's outside the home. People see it all the time, things like that. So anything visual is going to be super, super big. Or if you do really well at home shows. So if you are a contractor who's out there that like, when you go to a home show, you're going to walk away with thousands, if not hundreds of thousands. I mean, we've like people all like, "Hey, how's the home shows going?" They're like, "Good, I got about $250,000 worth of work off of it." I'm like, "Okay, so I'm guessing you're going back next year."
Yeah, right.
So if you do well at home shows, this is for you. This is your excuse to do pretty much a 24/7 home show at your house.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough if you're a roofer.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to show somebody, check out how sexy the shingles are?
It's like a lot of like, behind the scenes type of thing. Like you said, electrician, you're not going to rip down your drywall just to show them like, "Oh, the wiring I did behind the wall," It's very hard to show that.
Yeah. So this is really for, and it's the same thing of why, like when you build a custom home, or a house in general, like why they then do walkthroughs to sell the home, because it lets people walk through it, experience it, feel everything. So this is really for those that are in that visual space that you're cool with people coming over.
Yeah, it also shows you're not a big corporation.
It does.
You bring them to your own home. Like, here, let me show you what I got at my house.
You're a family person.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like, you'll hear, like, homeowners, they'll be like, just like, treat this like it was your own home. So bringing them back to your home, like, well, this is what I have at my home.
Yeah.
So this is what I, should do for you.
It's more personal. It's more intimate. I mean, you got pictures of family on the walls. Like, it's a cool, because if you're selling family, or the idea of family, if you're like a kitchen remodeler, then it makes sense to like have your family there.
Yeah, especially like your house, you have 2 dogs running around. Like, it's perfect. That's exactly what the whole scene that you're trying to portray for them is. So
everybody deep down wants the American dream. I feel like to a certain extent, and like they even had it where they did studies on Tinder, where if you're a guy, I forget what the exact stat is, but if you were a guy and you had a dog in your profile picture, you got like 12% more people wanting to match with you.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a significant amount.
A little more sensitive.
Because you look more sensitive.
Makes sense.
Now, if you're a girl, you drop by 20%.
Yeah.
Big drop. Because the guy thinks, oh, at the end of the night, you're just going to go home.
I don't need a man mentality.
You're just going to go home to your dog. So it's funny how that works.
That is
but
funny.
If you're a guy and you have a dog in your picture, so if you're a contractor and you got a dog at your house, you're gold, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what you said. Perfect. You got animals floating around. Awesome.
Yeah. So if you're a contractor in the visual space, make sure that you can make this happen. Also, just, if you're something that's a bit different. So, for example, like let's just say like you're a kitchen cabinet only. Like that's all you do is either do kitchen cabinets or like you paint kitchen cabinets, like super, super specific. It's kind of tough to then like repaint your own cabinets every 6 months. But to actually have stuff that you can show people, or whatever you would have naturally at a home show, I would say would be the move to do this.
Like samples.
Yeah, exactly. Just like samples, and you set up like a little studio, which we'll talk about how do you actually do it, but, have that on deck. Like another example, like Mike Carrillo, same deal with, he built a pond in his backyard. He shot out a video he created a video for 5 different couples that were like on the fence, texted each one of them the personalized video. Hey, so-and-so, I know you've been thinking about doing a pretty cool pond in your backyard. I actually just finished mine. Check it out behind me. Would love to have you come over and just, hang out with me for a bit. And they came over and they had wine together, and he walked away with like a $42K project.
Yeah. Wow.
Experience, man.
Yeah. I think a lot of it's also like, I don't know how much it would cost. So when you see that, it's very hard when you see that to like Kodak down to, no, I want the 12, like $1,000 pond.
Yeah, exactly. So
So that makes sense.
It's a huge selling point. So, that kind of talks about who does it. And then let's talk about some of the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we trying to do this stuff instead of just doing everything online? So the same way, like, Carvana. Have you ever been on Carvana's website or know how it works?
I know how it works, yeah.
How does it work? Because I'm still a little bit confused on it.
So if I might be getting confused with CarMax, but it's you basically just search for any make, model, or year you want, basically, and they'll give you the whole spiel of the car, basically, and all the options they have, where you want, how far you want to go get it, what features you want, and then you show up and I think you just do the price. I haven't bought anything off of it, but I'm pretty sure you just haggle the price right there.
So all right, so that's CarMax. So you never bought.
That's CarMax.
Yeah,
then.
and you never bought a car from CarMax.
No.
Have you? Yeah. So CarMax, you actually can't even haggle.
Really?
Yeah, like literally, like the price is the price. And their sales reps don't even make commission on different cars. They just make it on volume. So whether they sell you a Camry or a Corvette, they're making the exact same amount of money.
This is CarMax?
Yep. So that's how CarMax does it.
Okay.
But you got to show up. Carvana is the one where they'll actually deliver it to you.
Oh, that's the.
So you go online, you buy a car online, and they deliver it to you. And I think you've got like 3 days to return it, or whatever it is.
Really?
Something like that.
And it's the price is as is.
I believe so. I think it's the same car. Imagine if CarMax delivered. I think that's
Really?
how it does it. Yeah. I wouldn't personally do it because if I'm going to spend that amount of money, I at least want to go test drive it personally. So with why you need to be doing things like this at your showroom is, again, just like literally what I just said. Like, I personally would like to test drive a car before I spend that amount of money.
Like I went to like Chevy dealerships and they have like a whole wall of just interior you can get.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, man, you can match it
That's
with the
super
color.
cool.
Yeah, so it's like.
And you can like feel it and stuff.
Yeah,
too, huh?
exactly. Like, feel what like kind of like interior you want, and you can match like this type of red to like a gray truck or like this and that, and it's like, wow, Like that's that's what I want to go. So that's why I usually just go to the dealership. But
Yeah.
I mean CarMax. I always thought CarMax was like the Carfax, where they give you the
That's
the Fords.
Carfax.
That's Carfax.
That's Carfax.
Yeah, that's
All
too many.
Carfax has to tell you like the
That's
how much it's called.
It's more used cars too.
Yeah, Carfax is like Kelley Blue Book. I'm pretty sure that just
Yeah.
tells you the price of the car. I don't think they actually like. They might buy. I'm sure they buy and sell, but CarMax actually has a.
So then clearly I have no idea what Carvana
Yeah.
is.
I should have had Laura do this podcast.
Yeah.
Whose dad owns an auto
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah.
So with this, so the whole idea of connecting these two is that because not everybody wants to spend this amount of money online, straight up where it's just like, you're about to make a huge purchase that the homeowner's going to have to be comfortable with the contractor walking into their home for an extended period amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
They're about to spend a lot of money and they have no idea what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You've got pretty pictures online, you've got other stuff online, but connecting offline actions with all the online relationships that you're building.
Yeah.
I mean, the goal here is really with marketing is just to get the lead to like the 2-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to sell them. But sometimes people don't want to get all the way to the 2-yard line. They only want to get to the 10-yard line because they don't feel comfortable without, meeting you first or that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you give them a reason to come meet you, then they're going to get from the 10-yard line to the 2-yard line. And then when they're in your space, you get them from the 2-yard line to the goal.
Punch it in.
Yeah.
So I think newlyweds and like young couples, most likely this is like their first,
Mm-hmm.
big decision they're going to make together. I mean, they probably bought the house together or whatever, but, getting a pond is like a luxury. So it's their first real luxury item, if per se, that they're going to make together. So they don't want to make that trust that they don't want to all do it online, most likely.
Yeah.
They're going to want to go see it.
Yeah, and people are. I mean, like, we can't disagree that millennials shop differently. Like the way that you and I are going to buy something, like, we're going to go to Google first.
Yeah.
But it's still, like, you start off on Google. That's why you have to have all your online stuff set up. And you start them off up there, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to end up just like, and the whole goal is to get to the point with your marketing where it's like, the leads are just yours to not mess up.
Yeah.
Where they've already bought in their head. And when they come out to your house to experience whatever you got, they've already purchased it.
Yeah.
You just got to like put on a happy face and just tell them what the stuff is going to cost.
It's like you said, they're at the 2 already. It's just they want to punch it in from there.
Yeah.
Like, you've gone the 98 yards you needed to go, but.
Yeah, exactly. So, you've got that aspect of it is where they're connecting all the online stuff that you're doing with them, all the relationships to an actual person.
Mm-hmm.
A handshake, a feeling, all that kind of stuff. But also, there's a psychological or, I guess, persuasion aspect to this, where when people are on your home, it's like home field advantage. There's an actual psychological principle where, like, when we're interacting, like, let's say I'm a contractor and you're a homeowner and I'm in the homeowner's space, the homeowner has the advantage because it's their home. But if the homeowner comes out to the contractor's space, the contractor actually has an advantage. It's the same reason why, like, if you're a little bit elevated above people, that's why tall people like win. Like, there's more CEOs that are tall than there are short CEOs because of, like, it's like a height advantage, and there's like all these little things that, like, you want to say, oh, it doesn't really matter, but that's life.
Intimidation.
Like, it does matter.
Yeah.
So if you can get a homeowner to your own space, and not just like your showroom, but like your house, you've got a much better chance of them going, well, like, this is the life that I want, I'm in.
Mm-hmm. You think it's more like when the contractor's in their space, they think they know it's their house, their space, they know it better than anybody, but it's like, obviously when you go to the contractor's space, well, I turned this little section into a pond. So why couldn't you turn this thing into a pond?
I mean, it's seeing how they've done things. Like, instead of somebody like, pointing and going, oh, right there in your home, you could do this, this, and this. Versus, like, why don't you come out to my house and I'll show you exactly what I did.
He's like, oh, I have a similar layout to you. Why don't you come out and see how I did it? And something like that.
And like, okay, like my financial planner, I like the thing that he told me that got me to end up going with him was he said, yeah, dude, I'll just like, I'll invest your money the exact same way that I'm investing mine. And I was like, done.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Because like, what's good for you is I'm cool with, because I don't think you're going to screw yourself over just to get this one sale, so that is a big thing as well of like, why don't you, like, people who like, I don't want to say reap what they sow, but people that like, eat their own, I don't know what the, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, there you
I knew
go.
there's something about food or whatever it was.
Something like that.
Yeah, but like people who are actually like taking their own advice and like doing the stuff that they should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like the people that you want to be with. You
Yeah.
know, so like if we're a marketing company, we're sitting here going, oh yeah, you got to do content, and then you don't see us doing content at all.
It's like, well,
Yeah, or like, oh, you should advertise, you should do this, but then like all of our leads just come from like only referrals and like in person. Like it would be odd.
yeah.
You know, because like and everybody buys differently, so like we have to change it up, but like we do exactly what we preach.
That's why it's very important to get your house, make sure that's up to date.
Yeah.
Not not like, oh, it's the worst one.
Right,
So,
exactly. So, you know, there's a huge why. So then now the last aspect of it is, you know who should be doing it, you know why you should be doing it. Let's talk about how do you actually do it. A couple things. One is if you've got like a nice pond, for example, or a kitchen or something that's pretty static, like it's always going to be there, then you just every so often when you want to host an event, you just get people out there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you could do customer appreciation events. You could run ads on Facebook just to have a come hang out by the pond event, things like that. And we'll get into the Facebook side of things, but you just need to put on a party or an event to get them out there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the flip side of things, let's say, like for example, I talked to a dude out in San Diego. We did his website last year, and he was asking me, he's like, oh, like how do I get, how do I generate more leads? And I was like, what if you do this? I was like, how does the front where the curb appeal or facade of your house look? And he's like, honestly, it sucks. He's like, I need to do it. I was like, what if you did this? What if when you go and do it, you make a teaching day out of it, where you just pick a Saturday in a couple weeks, and then he actually lives on an island out in San Diego. I said, just what if you just like run a Facebook ad to everybody in that island, which you can do, and you could spend maybe $50 on it, nothing crazy, and just say, hey, residents of Coronado, on Saturday, I don't know, December 1st, I'm going to redo my front yard. If you'd like to come over and see how a certified landscape architect is going to do it, drop on by.
Yeah.
And every single person who's going to come over there, first off, it's small, so it's like he's in the heart of everything. So, I mean, I used to actually live on Coronado, and to go from one end to the other takes 4 minutes.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
So everybody's super close.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're talking about, it's everybody's super close.
Yeah.
So it's not like a distance issue. And then the people that are showing up are those that are actually interested in having this done.
Yeah.
So I was like, Eric, you either got one of two options. Either the people there are going to be there are going to show up, and you're going to end up selling them whatever you're doing to your home, but to their home, or they're going to go back do it themselves. But then when it's time for them to put in their patio, or if they want to put in their patio, then you're going to sell to them.
Yeah.
Because you're literally just helping out the community on how to beautify your home.
Mm-hmm. And you're not going to mess up your own home.
Yeah, and those are the people that are like interested in it because they're willing to show up on a Saturday to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing too. It's not like you just, I have to work on a Tuesday, I'll show by.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday.
No,
They're giving up a day off.
It's a Saturday. Yes. I mean, these are people that are, and this is what Tom Smith does. Pond guy up in New Jersey, he has build-a-pond days where if you show up at his place, he will teach you how to build a pond. You know how hard it is to build a pond by yourself?
I assume pretty hard.
It's pretty hard, man. I mean, like, so all you're doing is when you teach people something, it's empowering because now they know what's going on.
Yeah, and whatever that you like, the end product of what you taught them is, they're gonna compare whatever they can make to that. So if it doesn't come out good, because why would it? You're the professional. Then it's like, just do it. Like, make it like that.
And half the time, people don't know what goes into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like when you actually walk through. Hey, like even just with garden, hey, here's the plants that I'm going to put in, and I'm going to do it this arrangement because of this, this, and this. And oh, you see how like the color of my house, it's like an off-white? Well, that'll look great with this kind of color. And then somebody's thinking, well, my house is like a light blue. I don't want to put the exact same things in there because it doesn't work. So what are they going to do? They're going to hire him.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was we were talking about doing a website for somebody one time, and their spouse was like, we were talking about like doing like all the words on the website. And she was like, well, I'm a lawyer, so I could just write everything. And I'm just thinking, like, interesting, because you know how to write English. You also know how to write sales copy. Like, but if I would have sat there and walked through, like, here's literally how you actually have to do it, I think she would have been like, oh, wow, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
So that's the benefit of showing people how to do stuff and just, like, kind of letting them come into your space because now you're the expert, you're the authority, they trust you. And all you're doing is just showing them, as you're already doing the work that you were going to do anyway, why not put $50 behind it, boost out a Facebook post, get people over there and just walk them through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
That simple.
yeah. Or if you're like, let's say you're a remodeler, and you have a nice kitchen or you have a nice bathroom or something like that, you just put out a post. So here's what you can do. You're going to go on Facebook and you're going to write up a nice post that just is like pretty much calling for an open house. Hey, everybody in this area. Hey, residents of this neighborhood. On this date, I'm just, I'm a kitchen remodeler. I'm doing an open house on my own kitchen, right? We installed some pretty cool things. It's pretty trendy. Come on over and I'll answer any questions because, remodeling your kitchen is scary. So people are going to come over and you're just going to walk them through your own kitchen, explain stuff, have a couple samples there if need be. But all you're doing is you're building that relationship. So if they now, if they've been seeing your ads because you've been running ads because you're part of the Blueprint program because you know how to do this stuff, when you finally say, hey, come on over, they already know you. They trust you. They're going to walk over and be like, hey, Logan, I'm so-and-so. I've been,
I've seen all your ads.
Yeah, like it's not going to be awkward because
No.
they already know and trust you.
Yeah.
And all you got to do now is just get them into your space, play up that home field advantage, and get them there.
Yeah. It's kind of what we did for Premier Ponds with Creative Ponds.
Yeah, that's 100% what it is.
Yeah.
Or like, shoot, you have like we just did a website for Stain and Seal, which is a staining and sealing company for decks and fences. Imagine if every year they literally just restained their fence and just said, hey, come on over. We are going to show you how to stain this.
With like, I don't know, trendy, new trendy ways to do it or whatever.
I don't think it's that.
I don't know if it's I don't know if it's that simple, but
this is
you know
a
what I'm
situation
saying.
where there's only one way to skin a cat. But just by teaching people, and then they're going to see, because like one of their biggest issues is like, like most of the time, people who aren't really qualified to do this do it, and then it messes up the fence.
Yeah.
So if they actually walk through and say, okay, this is exactly how you do it. You got this, you got this, you got this, and then the people are going to go home and either do one of two things. Immediately hire them or go home, try it themselves, and realize it's the same reason why I painted in here and I regret doing it because it was a full Saturday. It looks terrible.
There's a couple spots,
Yeah. I went and got like Goof Off or Goo Be Gone or whatever it was, and then ended up not even removing the paint on like the trim. I just ended up removing the paint on the walls.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
Oh,
screw
my
that. We're just going to make sure that all the cameras are a little bit out of focus. So, yeah, if you teach people how to do this stuff themselves,
Yeah.
Painting is not like, I'm not a handy guy at all, but it is a hell of a lot harder than it looks.
Yeah. Oh, that's why they're the professionals.
Exactly.
So.
So if you teach people this stuff, how to do it in your space, you have home field advantage, you have the expertise advantage. People are going to hire you because they already see that you can do it and they trust you because you're just a normal person that's just helping out the community.
Yeah. So answer this for me. So, we have clients obviously that say that their space is probably the worst,
Sure.
not up to date. So where do you recommend maybe getting a little bit of a showroom or a storefront where you could bring people to?
You could, so you can do at client's house. Hey, would you mind? I'm a big person in the community, and you got to have the right client to do this. But like, hey, look, I love giving back to the community, and like, I love the fact that I can paint your kitchen. Would you mind if I kind of put on like a little seminar and just like, invited a couple of people over that just want to learn how to paint a kitchen and show them this, so you can actually use a client's home. I think Neil used to do that with remodels, kitchen remodels. Like he would actually have he would throw the host a party like after he finished a remodel, and they would invite all of their friends, and then he would invite a couple of prospects. And there's a reason. Okay, here's I don't even know why I didn't start off with this. Tupperware parties.
Oh, yeah.
Tupperware parties work because there's actually 6 persuasion principles. If you go back and you read Power of Persuasion, Influence, Power of Persuasion, it's like a classic in advertising and how to get people to buy your Tupperware parties nail all 6 of them. It's like likability, social proof, there's scarcity because the way that people operate things, it's they say like, oh, if you buy today only, like they literally knock all 6 of them down. So what you're doing with these, come on over and see my new kitchen, it nails most of them. You don't have to do like a promo offer, but it's going to nail at least 4 of the 6. Just the fact that somebody shows up, it's there.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, and with Tupperware parties, you've got like humans are like consistency. So they already showed up to the party. Well, now they have to remain consistent with the first action that they did, and now they got to buy something.
Yeah. Also, I think you're more inept to purchase something
Mhm.
if your friends or, family, if they're purchasing it too.
That's another aspect of it is if everybody else is doing it,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to do it as well. We should do a whole podcast. It's all about all 6 of those principles. I think it's like reciprocity, scarcity, like the likability aspect of it. You've got like, is everybody else doing it? Authority is
FOMO.
another one. Then I forget the 6th one.
Yeah, I don't know it.
Yeah, it either way, it's like it makes
do
total
one.
sense. We use it for all of our marketing and advertising stuff. Like that's why promotional offers that have like a time aspect on it
Mm-hmm.
work
Yeah,
because of scarcity.
yeah, makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do it, but definitely do a podcast on that. Sounds
Yeah,
like a topic.
that'd be a good one. So, guys. So pretty much, if you're trying to figure out, how do you generate more work? How do you get people there on your terms? Make a Facebook post, boost it to the right people. Meaning, pick the demographic, pick the area, things like that, and get people to your house and just walk them through. Just be a genuinely not salesy. You're not sitting there going, oh, well, like I can just do this for you for X amount of money. Just walk them through this stuff, and trust me, you will get a couple sales out of it. And if nothing else, you'll get a couple sales down the road.
Yeah, it's like a leads, hot leads.
Yeah, like with that Prey to Ponds thing. A couple of the jobs that ended up because they sold. I don't think they sold anything on that date, but I think within a week they sold a couple jobs, and then they sold a pretty big one like a month afterwards. And
Yeah.
the person
Nice.
on the website like responded or chimed in saying, "Hey, I was at your event, really enjoyed it, want to talk about it."
Nice.
And that was and they found that event from Facebook ads, went to the event, enjoyed it, and then a month later followed back up and made a pretty big sizable. I think it was like a 35K job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So they must have been sitting on it, being like, "Yeah, I gotta do this."
Yeah, it's like it literally is, dude. Like it's just with these events, you're just going for the jugular at that point. Like
Yeah.
you've just been kind of like playing it up with all these ads, emails, and then you just go for the kill. And I think they ended up probably when it's all said and done, if people at that event, I mean, they'll. My guess would be about 150K worth of work came from that event.
Awesome.
Which cost them between advertising and then actually putting on the event, I think like $5,000. Like they did a lot of stuff for it.
Yeah.
But $5,000 to make 150 grand,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that seems worth it.
I think so.
So a little bit.
Yeah, especially at like 60% profit margins.
Yeah. Especially now that we're sitting up on Halloween and the holiday season, also might be a good time to kind of run this idea.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not that busy most likely, so it's come to my house, go check it out. You know?
Like why not? So and all you got is time. Especially if it is getting to the holiday seasons and you get nothing else going on. So
Yeah.
guys, I hope that all helps. So if you're in the visual industry, and even if you're not, I mean, if you can like think outside the box, like if you're a plumber and you want to do a whole thing on like one of the most common issues, I don't know, like how to unclog a sink would make I probably wouldn't personally show up, but like if I'm about to do something like like there's reasons that there's workshops and stuff like that. Set one of these up. Make sure that you get them on your turf. You're doing this in a fun, educational manner. And then last but not least, use Facebook and your email list that you should be having because you're part of the Contractor Growth Network Blueprint program. Get them over there. Game on.
Do it.
If you watch this on YouTube, actually, I'm not even going to do the like thing. Go to ContractorGrowthNetwork.com. That is how you're going to learn how to do all the online stuff to then get them offline.
Yeah.
Cool?
Cool with me.
Cool. Thanks, guys.